Good morning, children. Hope all of you have studied the previous topic. In the previous class, we have discussed about the various taxation system introduced by the British in India, such as permanent settlement, Mahalwari system, and the Rayatwari system or the Monroe system. Within a few years after the new system were imposed, it was clear that all was not well with them. Driven by the desire to increase the income from the land, revenue officials fixed too high tax, so peasants were unable to pay. Riots means peasants fled the countryside and villages become deserted. And today we will discuss about the topic crops for Europe. Let's start. Now, the British also realized that the countryside could not only yield revenue, it could also grow the crops that Europe required. So the British forced cultivators in various parts of India to produce crops. Example, jute in Bengal, tea in Assam, sugarcane in Uttar Pradesh, wheat in Punjab, cotton in Maharashtra and Punjab, and rice in Madras. How was this done? The British used a variety of methods to expand cultivation of crops that they needed. Let us take a closer look at the story of one such crop, the indigo. Do you know the use of the crop indigo? The blue color that you see in the various prints was produced from a plant called indigo. Then, why there was demand for Indian indigo? By the 13th century itself, Indian indigo was being used by the cloth manufacturers in Italy, France and Britain to dye cloth. But the price of indigo was very high. So, European cloth manufacturers therefore had to depend on another plant called woad to make violet and blue dyes. But the dye from this woad plant was pale and dull. So cloth dyers preferred indigo as a dye. By the end of the 18th century, the demand for Indian indigo grew further. Britain began to industrialize and its cotton production expanded. So there was enormous demand for cloth dyes. Between 1783 and 1789, the production of indigo in the world fell by half. Hence, faced with a rising demand for indigo in Europe, the East India Company in India looked for ways to expand the area under indigo cultivation. Then, how was indigo cultivated in India? There were two main systems of indigo cultivation, niche and variety. First, about niche cultivation. In this system, planter produced indigo in lands that he directly controlled. Now, let's analyze niche cultivation and the problems associated with it. At first, planter found it difficult to expand the area under niche cultivation. Indigo could be cultivated only on fertile lands, which were already densely populated. And a large plantation required large number of labor at a time. Peasants were usually busy with the rice cultivation. Beyond that, it also required many plows and bullocks. So, till the late 19th century, planters were therefore reluctant to expand the area under niche cultivation. Next, about the variety system. Under the variety system, the planter pressurized village headmen to sign the contract on behalf of the rights. Those who signed the contract got cash advances from the planters at low rate of interest to produce indigo. But the right to have to cultivate indigo on at least 25% of the area under his holding. It is compulsory. When the crop was delivered to the planter after the harvest, a new loan given to the right. But the price provided to the peasants for the indigo was very low. So they could not able to pay the loan amount. So cycle of loans never ended. Another problem is that as a result of indigo cultivation, the soil lost its fertility, and after an indigo harvest, the land could not be sown with rice. Next, about Blue Rebellion. As a result of this oppressive indigo system, there was a rebellion broke out. It was known as Blue Rebellion. This indigo system was intensely oppressive. So, in March 1859, thousands of ryots in Bengal refused to grow indigo. As the rebellion spread, ryots refused to pay rent to the planters and they attacked indigo factories. And they had the support of the local zamindars and the village headman. Then, what was the after effect of this indigo rebellion? As the rebellion spread, intellectuals rushed to the indigo districts of Bengal and wrote of the miseries of the riots. Then the government set up the Indigo Commission to inquire into the system of indigo production. According to the inquiry of the commission, they held that planters as guilty and it declared that indigo production was not profitable for ryots. The commission asked the ryots to fulfill their existing contracts, but also told them that they could refuse to produce indigo in future. After the revolt, indigo production now shifted their operation to Bihar. Children, we have successfully completed this chapter. For your reference, I have uploaded the URL. Go through it. Notes are also attached along with this. Take it down. A test question paper is also there. Try it yourself. Thank you.